World Champion Kingin is abusing a new Gangplank build and it's looking absolutely nuts. Does Ezreal even need to build a mythic item anymore with this newfound setup? We've got this and so much more, as we'll be covering 10 of the best new Korean builds for preseason to help you get ahead of the meta. But before we get into it, be sure to check out Skillcapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. Prowler's Claw had been the staple mythic on Gangplank for the past while, but that has all changed in preseason. The brand new core of Essence Reaver into Gale Force and Quick Blades has been rising in popularity, and it's extremely powerful. Lots of pros have started playing this build, most notably the recent world champion top laner Kingin. Since the new passive on Quick Blades allows your abilities to deal bonus damage based on crit, GP barrels hit super hard with this build. Gale Force can also be a little more practical than Prowler's Claw, as you can use it to dodge skill shots. Prowler's active can only be used on minions or enemies, so having that added safety aspect from Gale Force is really nice. This full crit setup is a little bit more expensive than the lethality build, so to help accelerate your gold income, it's vital to run First Strike as the keystone. You'll also want to take magical footwear so that you don't have to purchase boots and run Futures Market to cheat some of your buys. Crit GP is back and in a very powerful spot for the first time in a while, so look to abuse it while it lasts. Although Iceborne Gauntlet is most commonly built on tank champions, there's one bruiser top laner seeing massive success with the item, and that champ is Jax. In the western regions, Iceborne is being purchased in less than 1% of games on Jax, but over in Korea, it's gaining popularity, being purchased in 8% of games. Iceborne is also winning about 2% more than Divine Sunderer as a rush item. Iceborne into Blade of the Ruined King and Spear of Shojin is the 3-item core. Now, we do have to keep in mind that Iceborne does not provide any magic resist anymore, and it's just armor. This means it's definitely not practical for all games, but the games it is practical, it's extremely strong. If the enemy top and jungle are both playing physical damage champions, then the value of Iceborne is super high. With Blade and Spear, you won't even be lacking very much damage, but you'll be insanely difficult to take down. Since Iceborne provides the slow from its Spellblade proc, the sticking power is disgusting for Jax. Jax has such low cooldown spells, he can basically perma-slow the enemy. Rune Page to run is lethal tempo with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Grab free boots and biscuits for secondaries. Now that Lilia has been classified as a melee champion, she synergizes so much better with Demonic Embrace. So much that players have started rushing Demonic on Lilia and transitioning into Jak'Sho as her mythic. The third item in the build path will be Rylai's. It's actually ridiculous how well this 2-item core is performing on Lilia, as players who rush Demonic are winning 8% more than players who rush Liandry's. This is mainly due to how well Demonic and Jak'Sho work together with Lilia's kit. Lilia absolutely loves extended fights, and with this core, you can become extremely tanky the longer fights last, but still deal a good amount of damage. You're basically a highly mobile, high DPS tank, which sounds really weird to say, as it's something that probably shouldn't exist. Since Conqueror provides more power for melee champions than ranged, it's now Lilia's best keystone after she was changed to a melee champ. Over 30% of Lilia players are still going Dark Harvest, but it's just not as optimal, especially when playing this Demonic into Jak'Sho build. It's not just Lilia that the Koreans are abusing Jak'Sho on, as it works incredibly well with Hecarim too. Western Hecarims are building Jak'Sho in less than 10% of games, but the Koreans are running it over 20% of the time. Like Lilia, Hecarim is one of those champions that has short cooldown spells, so he thrives in extended skirmishes. This means you have a very high chance of gaining full value from the Jak'Sho passive to become super tanky the longer fights drag out. You're always going to want to slot Jak'Sho in as your second purchase. However, your first item is more situational. Ravenous is currently the most popular option, but since it's nerfed for 12.23, a Spear of Shojin Rush becomes indirectly stronger. With this tankier core, most players are running Conqueror, as you'll be in fights longer, gaining full value from stacking Conqueror. World Champion Zeka, who had some crazy Akali games at Worlds, has a new build for the champion. Instead of playing full AP, it's a hybrid setup that consists of Ravenous Hydra and Riftmaker as the 2-item core. Zanya slots in really well as your third purchase. So how can Akali abuse Ravenous Hydra? Is she not a champ who deals magic damage? She is. However, her abilities scale off both AD and AP. Every single one of Akali's damage spells has an AD ratio, which allows her to run Ravenous and get good value from it. It's perfect because Akali is a snowbally assassin, so being able to run a snowbally item like Ravenous Hydra is amazing for her. Finishing off those low health targets also feels so much nicer with this build, as the AD gives your auto attacks that added punch. The rune page Zeka has been running consists of Conqueror with Presence of Mind, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Secondaries are Second Wind and Overgrowth. Tank Katarina is back. Koreans are spamming it and the build is performing way better than standard AP. Technically, it's not full tank, as it's more of a hybrid setup, but it does revolve around Iceborne Gauntlet as your mythic purchase. Nashor's Rush into Iceborne 2nd and Demonic Embrace 3rd is the core. Since Katarina has the reset mechanic from her passive, and since her passive procs on hit effects, her kit works really well with the Spellblade proc from Iceborne Gauntlet. This means you don't even have to auto-attack the enemy to proc the Iceborne slow, you just jump in on your dagger and the slow is applied. This provides absolutely massive sticking power and really prevents the enemy from ever escaping once you jump on them. When playing against tankier comps, this build is definitely much better suited than full AP for Cat. Playing Glass Cannon into heavy CC tanky comps is just not reliable, so by going Iceborne and Demonic Embrace, you have way more survivability to dive into fights more freely. For runes, grab Conqueror with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. The optimal secondaries are Sudden Impact and Relentless Hunter. Lucian has a really interesting new build going around for preseason that consists of running Essence Reaver and Quick Blades. Most notably, professional ADC Viper has been playing this one in solo queue. Kraken or Gale Force is the rush item, but the item combo of ER and Quick Blades is the most compelling part of the build. Since Quick Blades reduces the cooldown of basic abilities, it works amazing with Essence Reaver. You get the most value out of Essence Reaver if you're able to constantly proc its Spellblade passive, and Quick Blades ensures this is possible. You have way more ability damage potential in general with this setup because it provides 40 ability haste. Lucian's more popular core build does not have any ability haste at all, so you can dash around and be using Q way more often with ER and Quick Blades. This new build is just way stronger in many different ways, and especially broken if played with Nami. Rune Page you'll run is First Strike with Freeboots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Grab Presence of Mind and Bloodline for secondaries. Is it time to drop a mythic item entirely on Ezreal and start abusing Spear of Shojin? Many Korean ADCs think so, and once again, we have Viper playing this one in solo queue, for Shojin 3rd. Compared to the standard Trinity build, this Spear setup puts your abilities on a slightly shorter cooldown. As you can see in the background gameplay, Ezreal Q with Spear is a 2.61 second cooldown, while with Trinity Force it's 2.8 seconds. Q damage is also a little bit higher with Spear. Attack speed is the one stat you're missing out on by passing up Trinity Force. However, this Spear build is one you would run in games where weaving autos is more difficult. Just sitting back and chucking Qs off cooldown and staying safe against a very heavy dive enemy composition is where Spear is best. Conqueror is the keystone with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. Grab Mana Flow and Transcendence for secondaries. This new Swain build is giving him a lot more power from the support role, and it's centered around a Radiant Virtue Rush. Virtue is winning more than any other rush item on Swain, as it synergizes so well with his kit. So much of Swain's power revolves around his ultimate, so by building Radiant Virtue, you get this massive spike all at once to annihilate the enemy team in skirmishes. Radiant Virtue's passive provides you and your teammates bonus ability haste and healing whenever you use your ult, which is so nice for Swain. You're giving up some damage by skipping Liandry's, but the gold value you're able to give your team by building Radiant Virtue is well worth it. After all, this is Swain's support, so you shouldn't need to be the sole damage threat on your team, so being able to soak more damage and stick in fights for longer is really nice. The complete core build is a Radiant Virtue Rush into Rylai's 2nd and Demonic Embrace 3rd. For runes, run Glacial Augment with Perfect Timing, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Bone Plating and Revitalize are great for secondaries. With Iceborne Gauntlet making a comeback for preseason, it's opened back up a tank build for Senna. You still want to rush an Umbral Glaive, but then go into Iceborne Gauntlet 2nd in games where the enemy comp is heavy AD. The reason Gauntlet can work so well on Senna is due to her Q being able to apply the slow from Iceborne's Spellblade proc. Since Senna scales infinitely with her souls, she doesn't need to build damage items as much as most marksmen do to be effective. The main weakness to Senna is her squishy nature and inability to fend off dive champions, so by running Iceborne into meta champs like Zed or Hecarim can really shut them down. Since this build is still quite underrated at the moment, it gains even more value. Enemy team will not expect you to be going Iceborne, which can lead to them overextending for kills they'd usually be able to land if you were squishy. For the rune page, run Fleet Footwork with Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Cutdown. Bone Plating and Revitalize work best for secondaries. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about Skill-Capped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So there are 10 new Korean builds that are extremely strong right now, but are still relatively unknown by the majority of players. Thank you guys so much for watching, good luck with these builds in solo queue, and we'll see you in the next one.